So this is the free lunch catering that was provided by the Brockport student government for the first training session that was on that was from 10:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. This is the trap fried rice that I placed as my initial order. This was thrown in because there was difficulty in finding the address that I gave, and also there were issues at the office. Basically, it was pretty hectic because today was the day of the first training. And both in the hours leading up to it and during it, to a point, I worked on the new Dan Hamming episode, which has the working title of Dan Hamming and the Uber, which is supposed to depict the Uber ride to drop off Caesar and eventually himself. This is where I really put in the time to memorize, put in the time to figure out how to work in Dan Hamming and other character assets that were retired with the retirement of the legacy video maker over the Vion Studio. I make the frame for the episode in Vion Studio, then I add in Dan Hamming and other non-business character assets using a combination of Wrapper Offline and Camtasia 2019 and Bandicam. Well, this was supposed to arrive sometime between 12:30 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. Dad was to take me to Bill Gray's today to watch a football game, I believe. But it ended up not happening because I told him today that it turned out that training would last longer than expected. Yeah, this is pretty good. The training session started with some icebreakers. I basically introduced myself to all the new staff we hired during Friday weekly Senate meetings by saying my name's Tyler James Mackey. I'm currently a first semester senior. I'm a political science / criminal justice double major, hoping to successfully complete the language certificate program by taking Spanish classes so I can be certified as bilingual and open up some opportunities. Most likely some internship opportunities. Plus, I think it could make me more competitive for law schools. Again, this was my initial order. This was thrown in as compensation because it was late. Provided via the Rockport student government. It was assumed that it would arrive on time, so my dad didn't prepare anything for lunch. Included with the food delivery was my name tag for BSG, as well as this shirt for official BSG business. Though I'm not sure how much of that would be in person, considering the ongoing pandemic. This is some pretty good catering by an African-American owned business within the city of Rochester. It was definitely a great idea. The name of the restaurant is the Saucy Chef. I'm pretty sure I have one of the bags the food came in. One of these. Though it doesn't say the Saucy Chef on it. Yeah, that was attached to one of the bags. What I should probably do is study for that quiz we're going to have for, for chapter 11 in my intermediate Spanish class. I'll go and try and prepare some flashcards if I can find enough. Barring that, I'll figure out a way to improvise. Today I was able to figure out what I needed to do on Camtasia. I made some mistakes along the way, and it took a lot of trial and error to get the proportions and timing just right. So there was some stress involved with it. To a point where it seemed relatively relaxing to work on the week 8 assignment for my Politics of Geography class. This is some good fried rice. With beef, sausage, and yum yum, as the menu told me, for selecting the catering. Pretty sure it would be better to use this sauce for dunking the chicken into. Probably not going to eat all of this in one go. We'll probably save some of it for later. With that in mind, there isn't really much of a need to go to Harrison tonight. I think it's around 4:30, and I finally got the food I ordered and then some at roughly 4:19 p.m. I was contacted by the president, and he apologized and explained the situation for why the food came late. I think that's because I piped up about it in the group me for BSG and during the Zoom training presentation. I downloaded the Zoom client for the training session in the chat. I said, "Where is my food?" in the group me, and then my food never, I think it was, I never got my food, something along those lines, within the Zoom training chat. The training session chat that was hosted via Zoom. All the work I put into working on the Dan Hamming episode, I pretty much got this with little effort, this daily exclusive. I wasn't planning on doing anything at all in regards to this minigame because the daily exclusive wasn't a new building. What's valuable about this is that it produces fragrant frogs, which means that were I to get the mercenary camp, which is quite a likelihood, I could focus my efforts on the other units, per se. I brought these over to Dad's place by putting them in my backpack. And I had one of them roughly at the beginning of the training session. I'm not sure whether these are healthier than they're sugar-free, but they contain aspartame, which could be a possible carcinogen. One thing's for sure. Depending on where you go, they say it's either a carcinogen you should avoid or it's safe at current levels. I haven't heard anyone saying that it's good for you. So, this was intended to replace the 61-gram sugar Rockstar Punch cans I was getting at the Nest. I got these from the Square, But I think these may be slightly healthier since they don't have any sugar, but again, it's an artificial sweetener that is rumored to be a carcinogen, or at least is turned into something that's a carcinogen within your body. During the guest speaker that talked about barriers to intercultural communication and how to overcome them, I said that what makes you you is your thoughts and personality, because those aren't associated with your physical body. And when I gave that answer, the guest speaker kind of challenged that by asking if he would know me as well as my parents if he knew my thoughts and my personality. And I said probably not, because my parents know about my past events, and ultimately to conceptualize it, it puts in stuff that's outside of thoughts and personality. And then later on, to help participate in the discussion, I talked about relatively briefly my trip to Italy and Greece. How the old European capitals of Rome and Athens were relatively dense compared to the cities I'm familiar with in Rome. I mean, in the United States. And about how I got pizza with full slices of ham, but during the actual training session, I just said ham, and circular globlets of fresh mozzarella, to kind of give an example about how pizza in Italy has a wider variety of toppings than in the United States, where The two biggest toppings are pretty much extra cheese, pepperoni, and black olives. In Italy, it just seems like there's a wider variety of toppings. That's ultimately what I said. And it was also today, before the training session, an old fan of mine reappeared under the same username and profile picture. And I struck up a so far brief conversation with them. I plan on replying to what they last said in either a little bit or after getting some rest. I'm not feeling at my most energized at the moment. It may or may not have something to do with attending the training session. Early on, one of the icebreakers was to pick a color. I picked turquoise, not only because I like the name, but also because I genuinely like the color. Despite kind of fasting, I'm not really feeling that hungry. Because I think I've gone roughly 24 hours without eating and still not feeling that hungry in the past. I think, if I recall correctly. The delivery was so late. It was initially planned that it would be delivered to Dad's apartment unit, as that's where I was for the whole training session and in the hours leading up to it. But again, they were so late, we had to tell them that we were leaving. Dad was taking me back here at Eagle Hall, my room at Eagle Hall, and I had to tell the president of the Brockport student government of this change in where I would be. By the time I got the food, it was pretty cold for wearing shorts. It was still bearable, but obviously there was some discomfort in it. Not exactly the most comfortable sort of room temperature. It didn't feel like room temperature like it does roughly right now. I say it was about maybe 15 degrees Fahrenheit below room temperature. At least I think that's what it felt like to me. Though I'm pretty sure 15 degrees Fahrenheit below room temperature feels different to different people, I think. By the way, turquoise. I believe the president themselves said that turquoise represented a desire for emotional stability within your life, which I'm not really sure I agree with that. And a desire to express your hopes and dreams, which I do agree with. And that icebreaker was supposed to be a personality test. Basically, your personality could be predicted based on what color you picked on a whim, basically what your favorite color was. I used my political geography notebook to take notes for the train session because up to that point it was totally blank. And I used a pen my dad gave me, one that I think happened to be in his room. But I wasn't working on that Dan Hamming episode. I was trying to take notes, but obviously, people speak faster than they write. You can't keep up with speaking rate with writing. So, I didn't exactly write everything down. But I did so anyway because writing notes helps you to remember things.